Hello students, welcome to our channel Lakshmi Kavyala Tutorials. Today we are going to discussing about final essential question. What is that? The concept of rule of law. Okay, the concept of rule of law. So this is the final essential question, students. If you anyone wanted any other essential questions relating to your second semester, please comment me in my comment section or make me a message through Instagram account. Okay. So prior to discussing about today's topic, please subscribe to our channel and like this video and share this video to your friends. Concept of rule of law. What is the concept of rule of law? What is the concept of rule of law? The concept of rule of law is all are equal in the eyes of law. Okay, in the eyes of law, all persons are equal. Okay, there is no preference of their designations or any type of other capabilities. So, this is the main concept of rule of law. The father of concept of rule of law is A.V. Dicy. A.V. Dicy. So, he is known as father of concept of rule of law. Okay, clear? When we get the concept of rule of law into our country? When? At the period of Britishers. At the period of Britishers. Okay. In the period, the Britishers were introduced this concept of rule of law because A.V. Dicy was a British jurist. Okay, he introduced this concept into our country. So there are 5 main key points relating to concept of rule of law. What are they? Supremacy of law, equality before the law, accountability of the government, and fair and just legal procedure, and independence of judiciary. Okay, independence of judiciary. These are the 5 important major features of concept of law. When these 5 features are satisfied by any government or any constitution, then only the concept of rule of law applicable in that country. Okay, so in our country, these 5 features are satisfied? Obviously, yes. So, first future, what is that? Supreme law. Okay, supreme law. Obviously, we have a supreme law. What is that? Yes, Indian Constitution. So, Indian Constitution is a supreme law of India and mother law of India. Okay, clear? And next, what is that? Equality before the law. Obviously, our Indian Constitution provided this aspect in our Indian Constitution under Part 3 of Indian Constitution, right? So, equality before the law. What is it means? All persons are equal in the eyes of law. Whether he is president or whether he is a peon, both are treated as equally before the law. Okay, clear? And next one, accountability of government. Accountability of government. Must and surely the government of any country accountable to the individuals. Whether this future is satisfied by the government, that government is followed the concept of rule of law. And our country, the future is followed by our country? Yes. So, obviously, our government is accountable to the public. Okay. So, for applying this type of future, there is an act, that is Right to Information Act 2005. Okay. Provided by directive principles of state policy. On the basis of directive principles of state policy, this act enacted by Parliament. Okay, clear? And next one, fair and just legal process. Obviously, the concept of law follows the fair and just legal process. So, in the legal process, there is no type of bias or no type of influences in the legal field. Okay, so our Indian legal system is very fair and justiciable legal process is followed. Okay, and next one. And last one, independence of judiciary. Obviously, our judiciary is very independent, and the concept of rule of law is also provided the independence of judiciary. This future is followed by our Indian government or Indian constitution through judicial review. Okay, the concept of judicial review. Okay, and as well as our judiciary very independent, and any one of the other governmental wing cannot be encroached with the judiciary. It is independent to take the decisions as well as make any type of the judgments. Okay, clear students? So these are the 5 important and major key features of concept of rule of law. Clear? And so, where we have to observe this type of concept of rule of law in our Indian constitution. The concept of rule of law essence reflected in our Indian constitution in preamble, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policies, and independence of judiciary. That means judicial review. Okay, first one, preamble. In preamble, we have to observe some words: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay, so these are the key components for the concept of rule of law. Okay, and next, fundamental rights. Obviously, already we have to discuss that equality before the law we have to observe in the part 3 of Indian Constitution from Article 12 to 32. So, from Article 12 to 32. So, these are the important, and also we have to divide it and filterize the Articles 14 to 18 are equality rights. Okay, equality rights. So these are the equality rights. The equality before the law we have to very clearly observe from Article 14 to 18 of Indian Constitution. What it says, Article 14? Article 14 explains about equality before the law. Article 15 explains about the discrimination, prohibition of the discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, and Article 16 explains about the equality in public opportunity. 17 explains about the abolishment of the untouchability. 18 abolishment of entitlements. Okay, so these are all about the equality rights. Okay, clear? And next one, directive principles of state policies. Directive principles of state policy. So, the directive principles of state policy is not enforceable by law. So, no one can make any petitions against the violation of directive principles of state policy to the court. But they are governed by the government. So, we have to include these directive principles of state policies as future of concept of rule of law, the accountability of government. So, government must ensure accountable before the public. For that purpose, the government can make so many laws for welfare of the society. Clear? So, next one. So what is that? Judicial review. Obviously, the judicial review is a very, very, very big and crucial role played by the judiciary to control the administrative bodies, whether in the field of discretionary powers or separation of the powers or delegated legislation. So for the provided the very eminent acts and eminent laws to the public, as well as protect the breach of fundamental rights. Okay, so that's why the independence of judiciary future also satisfied by our Indian constitution. Okay, so these are the important provisions in our Indian constitution relating to the concept of rule of law. So whether there is any landmark judgments relating to the concept of rule of law? Yes, of course. There are two major landmark judgments, and I will give one more thing also, but these two are very important. If you are writing the answer relating to the rule of law, just you have to presented these two cases, and these are very important for another case law, another topics also. So I'll give these type of landmark judgments for the concept of rule of law. What are they? First one, Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala. In this case, the Supreme Court held that the basic structure of the Indian Constitution cannot be amended by the Parliament, and it protects the concept of rule of law. Okay, and next, Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, 1978. Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala, 1973. Okay, so 3 and 8, 5 years difference between the two cases. You have to remember that. Okay, and the Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, 1978. In this case, the Supreme Court widened the scope of, okay, expanded the scope of right to life, article 21, and it protects the fundamental rights of the persons, and as well as it strengthened the concept of rule of law. Clear? So these are the main and important landmark judgments relating to concept of rule of law. Not only for the concept of rule of law, you have to be observed that in the constitutional remedies also these are the important. So like in that way, you have to memorize these two landmark judgments. Okay, so this is the concept of rule of law lecture, students. In the key points, the futures you have to be memorized that the supreme law and equality before the law, accountability of government, and next one the independence of judiciary and fair and just legal process. These five are very important futures of concept of rule of law. So this is all for our administrative essential questions section. So we have to completed this session with the full notes relating to concept of rule of law. Just look at the screen. So this is all for notes relating to concept of rule of law, students. So the completion of our this session, the concept of rule of law, with the concept of rule of law, the administrative law session is completed, and I will make a playlist for you relating to all these questions. That means all these 15 videos, and I post with this playlist. Okay, so today onwards the playlist is also published in our channel. Okay, so students, if anyone wanted any type of other notes relating to your semester, please comment me in my comment section. I will give just important questions relating to the subject if you want that. Okay, and obviously you have to make a message through my Instagram account. Thank you one and all, and stay tuned to Lakshmi Kavya Lab Tutorials.